Do good men have affairs? Before I give you my thoughts on this, let me ask you this question. Let's say that you're a mom and you have a son who's about 25, 27 years old, and a son that you're very proud of, hardworking man, is a good man. And then he comes home one day to visit and he says, Mom, I've done something. And you find out he had an affair. Is he still a good man? Let's say you're a sister and you have this brother that you really admire and look up to. He's a good friend of yours and you get along so well. But one day he meets you for lunch and he opens his heart and he says, I gotta tell you something. I've been having an affair. Is he still a good man? The reason I pose this question is because I think as human beings, we have all kinds of problems. And frankly, our biggest problem is we don't know what to do when problems come. And I think an affair is one of the most difficult things to ever happen in a person's life. I certainly do not want to minimize the impact and pain of an affair, but I just want to take a 30,000-foot view for the goal of all of us understanding our lives better and some of the problems that we face. Let me ask you this question. Do you ever fall short on the commitments that you make to yourself? Do you ever fall short on the commitments you make to other people? How about this question? Do you ever fall short in the commitments that you make to God? Well, all of us fall short in commitments that we make. We have all experienced in our life something that we should do, but we don't do. And we've also experienced things we know, I don't want to do this, I should not do it, and yet we do it. So to me, will a good man have an affair? I would say yes, without a doubt. If the right ingredients are in his life, or maybe I should say, if the wrong ingredients are in his life, yeah, he probably will. So I want to talk about the three core reasons that will cause a man to be susceptible to having an affair. And the reason this is so important is oftentimes the way that we respond to people when they make mistakes causes us to make problems worse. For instance, if a man has an affair, we simply look at him and say, oh, he's a bad man. We thought he wasn't, but he is. And we kind of just kick the man to the curb and don't know what to do with him. And although I could not blame a wife who's like, I don't know what to do with this guy. I thought I could trust him. I thought he was a good man. And now he's done this to me. Don't get me wrong. I think that's absolutely soul crushing to any wife. But if we can all just take a 30,000-foot view of this, I want to talk about three things that kind of set up a man to be very susceptible to having an affair. Number one, if a man feels like he's living a purposeless life, he is susceptible to having an affair. If he feels like he's just going through the motions, day in, day out, week after week, month after month, year after year, at some point, he's going to look for something to stimulate his soul. He's going to look for something to awaken something on the inside of him. I've heard so many men talk about, for instance, going to a casino once a week. And this one particular man said, I don't even care if I won or lost. He said, I just felt like I was alive. It was an escape from the drudgery of what my life has become. Men function so much better when they have a sense of purpose in their life. But if you can strip a man of purpose, he is going to be susceptible to things like gambling, drinking, drugs, or having an affair. Number two, a good man who lacks great friendship with other dudes is more likely to have an affair. Let me explain. Men need connection. Sometimes for husbands and wives, it's hard to connect with each other. Frankly, sometimes we're not as connected as we want to be. And that's okay. It's part of the ebbs and flows of life. But for instance, for a woman, when she's lacking the kind of connection she wants with her husband, It helps if she has some girlfriends that she can rely on and have some connection with. For a man, he needs some dudes to have connection with. If a man is in a time in his life where, let's say that there's little kids in the house, and everyone knows it's hard for the husband and wife to connect a lot when there's little kids pulling around at their feet. So if a man has little connection with his wife for a season, but he also has no dudes in his life, he becomes a man who's disconnected. Well, everybody wants connection. Everyone needs connection. Our hearts desire connection with people. And so the man that doesn't have strong connection with other dudes, even just for hobbies or some kind of sport, that man is more vulnerable and capable of falling into an affair with a woman. So let's talk about number 3. The third reason, and it could be number 1, that can cause a good man to be more vulnerable to having an affair, and that is a marriage that feels lifeless. Now, I'm not picking on wives with this, nor am I saying that if your marriage is in a struggle, it's okay to have an affair. And I'm certainly not blaming wives for a marriage that feels lifeless. I'm simply stating that if a man is in a marriage that feels lifeless to him, he is much more susceptible to having his head turned and his heart connected to some other woman. We men sometimes don't communicate real effectively, but the reality is, for a man, his wife is going to either put a cape around his neck and make him feel like he's somebody, or his wife, it feels like, can put a noose around his neck and make him feel like he's a bad guy who's not deserving of respect. He's a joker. He's not Batman. He's a bad man. A man's wife has a huge impact on his identity, a huge impact on his self-confidence. So if the marriage feels lifeless to a man, he may not know how to talk about it, not know how to fix it, but he becomes very vulnerable to having some kind of relationship with some other woman where she offers him what his wife isn't offering him. Once again, I'm not saying it's the wife's fault. I'm just saying that a man wants to be talked to like he matters. He wants to feel respected. He wants his wife to think that he's somebody. And if he feels like she treats me like I'm a nobody, well, he's going to look for somebody else. So as we take a 30,000-foot view of even an issue like, do good men have affairs? You know, part of the reason I think like this is I go into a prison once a week and I meet with really good men who live behind bars. But the ingredients in their life, there was enough of the wrong ingredients that led them to make a decision and go down a road that's caused them to end up in prison. I am not at all promoting that men should go have affairs. It's going to help them. It doesn't help. It's painful. It hurts everyone. It adds more confusion to life and more pain to life. But oftentimes we only look at people's lives from the point of the mistake and afterward. We don't tend to look at people's lives from before the mistake to see what kind of ingredients were in play that led up to this kind of decision. So in short, here's what every man has got to do. A man has got to cultivate a purposeful life. He's got to learn how to look at life in such a way that he's creating a sense of purpose or mission in what he's doing. Number 2, a man has got to create powerful friendships with other dudes. And you may not be doing powerful things. You might just be doing fun things. But when a man has fun with friends, he's a stronger man and his life is more full. And number 3, every man needs to cultivate a life-giving connection with his wife. As we finish this, I would like to point you to a couple of resources. One of them is a marriage assessment that my wife Adina and I put together. you can simply look to the link in the description of this video. It's a simple marriage assessment you can take, and it will email you immediate results to kind of give you a snapshot of how you and your husband are doing. I encourage you, honestly, even if your life is going pretty well, it's just as important to take this assessment so that you see for yourselves, yeah, we are doing pretty good. Or wait, these two categories of our life are really low. That's not good. But here's another resource I would point your way. If you're a man and you are struggling with your sense of purpose, or if you're a woman and you're struggling with your sense of purpose, that is a very dangerous way of living. Because we're made for a purpose. We're made to have purpose. And when you live life with purpose, it really changes the daily grind of life. But living without a sense of purpose makes us very susceptible to a lot of things. So if you're struggling with just knowing your purpose, reach out to us. My wife does this work with women. I do this work with men. We have a program we put together called the Purpose Mastermind. And the whole point of our conversations is to know your purpose and overcome any obstacles that's holding you back from living it out boldly. So if you need some more assistance with these categories of your life, reach out to us. We would love to be a help to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Now go take on the day.